James Pope here with RSA NetWitness Platform, continuing our Mitre T discovery. Today we're going to be talking about data exfiltration. Particularly, we're going to touch on remote file copy. So this is our T number 1105 right here, 1105. And today we're going to be sending out some sensitive data over FTP. And this mirrors a real-world example that I dealt with when I was an analyst a few years ago. We tracked down a corporate user who found websites out on the internet that allow you to post information to over FTP, and you can retrieve them later. These are sites that let you, in this scenario, the one that I dealt with as an analyst, in particular, it was sites that like made USB disks or CDs for you that you would upload big files to. They would turn around and crank out the CDs or USBs, and then they would mail them to you. But it allowed you to store stuff on them, and then you can go to your home and retrieve them. So we're kind of mirroring that, but doing a little safer. Real quick, we can see these enablers of compromise that pop up with possible MasterCard and credit card. And we can see a few alerts of those for the exfils that we did. We also can go to respond. We have some simple alerts, ESA alerts that should flag on that as well, which we do. We have some possible credit cards that get flagged. And what that's going to do is it ropes up all of our additional things. So besides just the two things, we have more with it, much like our other videos. And we can see we have some network information, and any one of these we can pop open. Any one of these we can open it up and see additional information. And in this case, we're going to a speed test TEL2. I use that for the demo of sending it to because it's a safe way to do that. In fact, here let's copy that. I'll just show you. So these guys right here, they're just a speed test that let you upload stuff to an FTP anonymously. There's no way to retrieve it on this site, and they also let you download files. But it mirrors the example of what we were doing where they were sending them to an anonymous site, and then they could retrieve them. I just didn't want to use an actual company. I do know the name. They do still exist, and you could still use this attack method or exfiltration or insider threat method, however you want. Bumping through our network, we see the login, the anonymous login. We see, actually, in this case, it's a request, and that's where we're dumping a file back out. And we also see the credit cards, right? So here is a sheet that is dummied up data that mirrors credit cards. So we have full PAN, expirations, and then made up information for all these users. So at this point, I've confirmed it is a thing. Sometimes on these investigations, I like to go to these find related. And once I know some information, like what this destination is, I will populate that in find related and see what additional information I get. And in this case, it says, hey, there's like 11 more. You want to look at those. We can open those in a new window. And we can see some additional ones in here, mostly coming from log and a few more from network. So maybe the ESA alert flagged on these certain ones and brought them together, but it might have missed something. And as an analyst, we can click on those. We can go further, validate what those are, investigate those, get additional information. Other things we can do is we could just go out to investigate and events. And now that we have that host, we can just build a really simple query here that's going to say, give me anything with IP destination. So we know what the dest is, and it equals this address that we copied. And we know our host is our same one we've been attacking over and over and over. So, and our IP source equals the 10.10.10.246. So we can run a query like this and have it populate data back to us. We're going to open up our window here just to make sure that we have right data. Yeah, we just barely missed it on that query. So we can see some additional information. We can see we have our logs. We can see your endpoint, another log, and network traffic right here. So network traffic is where we saw that FTP. We have some ability to group events, and it will sort some things a little differently and add some things next to each other like FTP. You can kind of keep those sessions together. And sometimes they're super useful. In this case, it's not super impactful. So bumping through this, some additional things we can glean from this are, I think our initial one is, yeah, this one right here. So these are all of our credit cards. We can expand this and see further. It clearly is regexing on credit card numbers and is accurate. Again, this is just dummy data, so don't try to, yes, go ahead, try to buy something with this. But disclaimer, it's all just randomly generated stuff. So that's that. But we can start at the top and look at the logs to see what's happening. So coming from the firewall, we see a connection is opened. And sometimes this is super useful, and not a lot of times every organization can have visibility on logs, endpoints, and packets together. But sometimes you just have to tell that story from the log side, sometimes from the endpoint side, sometimes from the packet side. I obviously would like all three. It helps me tell a cleaner story as to what's happening in each scenario. But yeah, bumping through the logs, we can see open, we can see close, we can see session sizes, what's being sent between them. On the endpoint side, we get a little more visibility that we maybe wouldn't had to what was doing it. So we know it's explorer.exe, so that's equivalent of somebody just opening up an Explorer window in Windows. So one of these guys right here, and just opening that up. So that's useful. If I would go further on the endpoint and track that down. Most of these are just going to be the same, just the connections to those anonymous accounts and transferring of those. And then on the network side, I think we already got all the useful gems out of there for that. So with all this said, this is a pretty simple one where we're just showing that a file can get copied out. And this is being used by people who are smart, whether that be through simple FTP anonymous servers that are on the internet, or if that's Google Drive, or if that's Dropbox, or whatever systems out there. People are absolutely transferring sensitive information out of orgs all the time. Big argument for decryption and packets where you can just see everything, including through email and everything else. With all of that said, this has been James Pope with RSA NetWitness going over remote file copying. And happy hunting.